What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and it looks like Chris Rock has responded in some leaked audio from last night's show. We all know everything that happened, blah, 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 but the world has kind of been waiting to hear what Chris Rock has to say about it, because while a lot of people still remain convinced that the whole thing was a setup, I don't think that it was, and I don't think that Chris, really knows how to respond to it. Because as things sit right now, he's basically, viewed with sympathy, which I don't think Chris Rock actually wants. I don't think he wants people feeling bad for him. I don't think that he would have ever agreed to get punked in front of all those people. And so he's had two sold out shows last night, by the way, in which people were paying outrageous amounts to scalpers in order to get in, waiting to hear what he might say about the Will Smith incident. And we did get some interesting audio leaked to kind of describe it. And we're going to get into that right now. So before I do, though, I've got an offer. If you don't have a VPN right now, Private Internet Access is partnered with this channel, and if you use my link in the description below, you save big money, huge money. They have a strict no logs policy. It's 100% open source. It's easy to configure. It's 24/7 ad support. It has all sorts of 5-star reviews. And if you use my link in the description below, you can get yourself protected and start browsing anonymously after the video, of course. Now, Chris says, "Let me be all misty and asks Chris Rock gets emotional addressing the Oscars slap." Superstar comedian Chris Rock on Wednesday night became emotional when he walked on stage for his comedy set, speaking for the first time since the actor Will Smith notoriously slapped him in the face on Sunday night's Academy Awards show. Let me be all misty and stuff, Rock said, with tears in his eyes, according to CNN. In the first of Rock's two shows that night, he was greeted by the audience at the Boston's Wilbur Theater with two back-to-back standing ovations lasting several minutes. "So how was your weekend?" the SNL alum casually said to the crowd, drawing loud laughter. "I don't have a bunch of stuff about what happened this weekend, so if you came here to that, I had a whole show written before this weekend." There's probably addressing the fact that, there was a huge demand in tickets to see, or a huge increase in tickets to see the show, hoping that he would, essentially roast Will Smith. But then he goes on to say, Rock says, he wrote, "I'm still kind of processing what happened," he said. "So at some point I'll talk about that stuff, and it will be serious and it will be funny." I think what he's really doing here smartly is reading the way the winds are blowing. I think right now he's, the sympathetic figure. Again, like I said, I don't think he actually wants to be, but I think he's playing this out to see, exactly what will be the right thing. If he comes back hard at Will, he does risk at least somewhat, kind of burning up some of the goodwill he had. Although I don't really think that he does. Rock said during the second segment, a segment at the Oscars, blah, blah, blah. Now, he ends up writing in the second set, he comments on it again. So Chris Rock says he's still kind of processing the Oscars. It's interesting. This, by the way, after the revelation now that in earlier video today, I covered that the Academy had allegedly asked Will Smith to leave and that he refused. Now the report is coming out that Academy lied about asking him to leave. Of course, this is per quote unquote sources, whatever that means. Will Smith was never asked to leave the Oscars after he slapped Chris Rock. In fact, the opposite is true. Wow. Looks like everybody's scrambling to play a little CYA. He was told by the producer of the show that he could stay. This according to sources with direct knowledge and who were present. As you know by now, the Academy said Wednesday that they had asked Will to leave the Dolby Theater after the incident, but he refused. 3 sources who were at the ceremony and witnessed various conversations tell TMZ, yes, after the incident, the Academy officials had gone backstage with Will's reps, and there were heated conversations about what had gone down. We're told that there was a split among officials. Some did want him booted, but others did not. There were various discussions during several commercial breaks, but they never actually reached a consensus. Well, I mean, the show was live, so I mean, there's not a heck of a lot. They had like a short window of time to come to an agreement, but the fact that there wasn't 100% agreement that you should be kicked out is actually sad, to be honest with you. Now, Will Packer walked up to Will Smith just after 8 p.m., around 35 minutes after the incident. That's when he told Will he could stay, according to sources. Will won Best Actor award around 5 minutes later. It's interesting, the Academy first statement about the incident never even mentioned Will Smith by name. As the day went on and outrage grew, the Academy became more aggressive and went hard in on Will, saying that he took an aggressive stance and refused to leave. Like, this whole thing is actually kind of ending up, it's going to be a huge disaster. I mean, it's not going away. It keeps, like, you know, mutating and growing and changing. And, you know, the funny thing has been, like, they can't get their stories. They can't get their stories straight. You know, the critical quote, of course, is, "I don't have a bunch of stuff to say," from Chris. So if you came to hear that, I have a whole show. So at this point, I'll talk about this, you know, or this, you know, anyway. While presenting award, we know what happened, but there were audience members at Chris Rock's show. An audience member was heard shouting "F Will Smith," but Rock reportedly ignored it and continued on with his set, being pretty professional. Now, more comedians are coming to Chris Rock's defense, and, you know, I think yesterday when we saw Jim Carrey basically say, like, that slap is forever, it's become an internet meme, like, you know, and Jim actually said, you know, if it were me, I'd be suing Will Smith for $200 million. You know, I don't think that's the best PR move for Chris, but I would understand why. So legendary comedian George Wallace came out to say, I would sue him for $200 million. I told Chris Rock to press charges and sue Will Smith's rear for $200 million, then visited him in jail and whatnot. The veteran stand-up comedian said Wednesday, "I wish he had slapped me. Oh, man. I would have done the same thing to my friend Chris Rock did. Played it off, but I would have fallen to the floor. I can't get up. I'm looking into my future, Will Smith. Thank you so much. You have made my life because I can see black robes in my future." Wallace had actually tweeted the very message on his consistently funny Twitter feed. The comedian alternated between fresh material and a serious message about Will Smith's slap at Sunday's Oscars telecast. "It was disappointing. Did he cross the line? Yes, he did. When did he cross the line? When he got up and left his chair," said Wallace, who has yet to make a plan to return to the Westgate Cabaret, his most recent Vegas residency home. "The first step, crossed the line. He laughed at the joke," which wasn't a great joke, but it was a good joke. "Will Smith could have asked for an apology after the show, but nobody would remember the dang joke if he had just stayed in his seat." Wallace had said the incident broke up the best produced Oscar show ever. Showrunner Will Packer did an awesome job, and I enjoyed the inclusion of 3 hosts who are great. The set designs were great. I couldn't stop watching, and then came in Will to screw it up. Wallace says that Rock should have pressed criminal charges too, saying if somebody had slapped Larry David or Jimmy Kimmel, police would have locked him up automatically. Wallace said the incident had soured him on all Smiths. "I don't like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Keely Smith, Granny Smith apples, the Smith brothers with their cough drops. I'm not going to Smith grocery stores anymore," Wallace said, building momentum. "I'm boycotting the Smithsonian, Emmitt Smith, who used to play for the Dallas Cowboys. I love Will Smith, but I don't love him today." Vegas headlining club comic Kathleen Dunbar says she disagrees with anyone who thinks the event was staged. "I have talked to people who know Chris, Amy, and Wanda, and there was no way this was a setup. Chris was shocked at what happened," Dunbar said. "I thought it was disgusting. I thought Hollywood has lost its damn mind." Vegas resident comic actress Marsha Warfield tweeted, "If they take Will's Oscar, does it go to the first runner-up like Vanessa Williams' Miss America's title, referring to Williams being stripped of the title in '84 after spicy photos of then contestants surfaced?" I've said since Jump Street, and I'll say it again, that I absolutely think the award should be taken from him. It's the only punishment that will actually matter. In a separate post, Warfield explained that explanations are not excuses, but people, even celebrities, are more than just sound bites and hashtags. Carrot Top has made the joke of the event on his social media page, showing a red hand-shaped splotch on his left cheek and a clip of his staff lining up to slap him on stage. During his act, he makes a joke about Adele playing Little Caesars instead of Caesar's Palace, and a crew member in a wig takes the stage and cracks him. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's messed up. I think basically everyone's kind of sick of hearing about it right now. At this point, Chris should probably come out and go strong in the paint, but that's just my opinion. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure you click that red subscribe button down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.